Hello, sunshines. How art thou? How art thou? How is your Monday? It's gonna be Mentor Monday. How are you? I don't know if y'all can hear it, but somebody is playing R. Kelly, I Believe I Could Fly on rotation. They play it one more time, they really gonna fly. Because I'm sick of hearing it. Like the song. But they kind of get on my nerves now. Early. But how art thou? I am oh, I just saw something that really I'm sorry, I went way off topic. I just saw a video on YouTube that I think I wanna watch. But anyway, so this question wait, 1 second. I'm sorry. This question, jeez, I'm getting tired of the question over and over and over and over and over again. How can I make a hat with a picture on it? How can I make a bag with a picture on it? How can I make a scarf with a picture on it? How can I make a shirt, a skirt, a poncho, a sweater, whatever? So, I started doing it like 7 years ago. I don't know. I'm just throwing numbers out in the air. I started doing it a while ago, and then I realized that I could do all things through Christ. Yeah. And I did. And I made it happen, and I started making it in shirts and tank tops and bags and all of this stuff. So anything I see in my mind and I want to make it happen, I make it happen. The thing about it is, throughout the years, I realized that my mistakes were causing my techniques, Graphghan techniques, to maybe somebody may not want to purchase that anymore. Not that they don't purchase from me anymore, but they might not want to purchase that particular item anymore. So I decided to make some changes, and I realized my flaws, and I realized what I could do to make it better. And yeah, so it's like the sky is the limit. The thing that I also realized was that not everything needs to have an image. Not everything we do should have an image, because it would take the beauty out of that particular garment or scarf or whatever. So I had to like pick and choose what I would like to tweak and what I would love to make that will like bring it out more. And so I started playing with some things. I did decide this year to make a bag. Now, this is the first time I ever made a bag like this. And I was just playing around with it because it was something that I had wanted to do with a collaboration. So I decided to play around with it, and bam, my idea, the in my head, right? Because we all have things in our head. How do you execute it? How am I going to make whatever is in my head come to life? And so because I used to just make it. I used to just do it. And when I did that, it was just off the hook. Horrible. So what I did was make like a mock model. So I would do it without the image, and I would create it, because 9 times out of 10 in my brain, no one has a pattern for it. No one. When I think of things in my head, I cannot find any patterns. So, or I might find something that I like, but I would tweak it a little bit. And that's basically what all patterns are. You tweak it. So I wanted to make this bag with the Cruella. If you saw it, I did a video on it and everything. So this is the bag that I made with Cruella on it. Now, I knew that Cruella has a lot of features and a lot of detail. In order for me to get it in the bag in the size that I wanted, I had to play around with the graphics a little bit. So I'm going to show you the graphics. But I also thought, what about minimalist? Minimalist is any art that is minimal, like really simple. It doesn't have a lot of detail. And I think that's what I learned more about throughout the years, because you could still have the technique with the image that you want, but it would be more of for crocheting. So if I wanted to knit it, I probably would be able to do more detail. I probably would be able to add way more, because knitting is so like small and you could get a lot more into your stitches. Whereas with crochet, you need a little, it's a little larger. Each square, it's a little larger. So I didn't want this thing to be huge. So I decided to just make it minimalist. I think also, like when I see sweaters, shirts, skirts, tank tops, I'm always seeing that square, right? We always see that square. And sorry. We always see that square, which is the first thing we all do. When we are making a graph, we try to make that graph in a regular square, which is right to left, left to right, left to right. We try to do that, right? And then you start adding your the rest of your sweater, cardigan, or whatever, your sleeves, collar. You add that to the square. I'm here to tell you that you don't even have to do that. You don't even have to do that. I actually crochet my images as I go. And I do that because I don't want it to look like I just put that in there. So you have this square in the middle of your back, and then you can see that you're adding everything around it. To me, it looks not too good. So I wouldn't want to do it. I have done it before in the past. I did make shirts where I had the square first and then I add to it. And sometimes that works, sometimes it does not work, because you're going against the grain. When you go against the grain, you start seeing the stitches and it doesn't look too pleasant on the eyes. But it's my opinion, and that's just something I learned to not do anymore. So I'm going to show some samples of things that I did. I'm going to show how I do things, why I come up with these things, and why it would work rather than just making that square. I also, like, someone asked me about a hat, and they were saying, like, they made the hat in a square and then they folded up and stitched it and bunched up the top and added a brim. And I said, why? Why did you do that? Because now it looked like one of those baby hats. Because even when you scrunch it up in the middle, because you made that square, it's going to be so bulky right here. We want our items to look like actual garments, actual sweaters, actual hats, actual bags, without it having anything poking out, peeking out, seams everywhere, and the stitches that's against the grain. You don't want to do that. You want to make it blend and make it work. So what I did was, with this, I made this first. This was like my mock project to see how I can get it to where I want it to go. And all I did was crochet left to right, right to left, right? but then I stopped and I did it backwards. When I did it backwards, I basically turned it around and did it again. And this is how I have this right here, right? So I knew that was something I did not want on my original project. I did not want that on this, and I didn't have it on this. So I knew what I needed to change. So this is why I always do like the mock-up first. And I also knew that I wanted it to look almost like the doctor bag, like the Louis Vuitton doctor bags. Like, I love them. So I wanted to bag something like that. So I knew when I make it, I needed the size to scrunch up a little bit. And this got to be out. So I knew in my head, how the hell am I going to make this work? How am I going to add the image in here? I knew that the colors were going to be red, black, and white. So it was going to be a little bit of red because, again, I'm collaborating with Busy Peach, and she has this yarn. You got to check it out. She has this yarn that was the red, the black, and the white. The thing about it is the red was like the mini skein. It was like half of the skein, and then you had the two other ones, which I think it was like 218 yards, and then the mini one was half of that. So I didn't have a lot of red, so I knew that I needed to think wisely on what I was doing with the red and what I was doing with the black and the white. I also knew that I wanted it to look like kind of sort of like the Harley Quinn, where you have half red, half not red, but half black, half white, or red, yeah. And I knew that I wanted the photo, the actual picture, to be like the opposite. I knew that. And I knew how I was going to do it in my head. How I was executing it, I had no freaking idea. So I'm going to show you the graph, because I started with this. I didn't even have my photo yet. I started with the mock-up. I knew what I needed to change. I had everything written down. I knew how many chains I needed to start with, which was like 30. How did I come up with that? I don't know. Throughout the years, I decided if you know how to make one thing, you know how to make them all. If you know how to make a scarf, you know how to make another scarf. And being that you know how to make that first scarf, you would know how to change stitches to make it and modify it, right? So that's what I did. I just knew how to make a regular bag with the gusset. The gusset is the sides. So I knew how to make a regular bag with the gusset. How was I making that doctor bag? I honestly had no freaking clue. I had these little things laying around, so I said, let me try it with this. This was a flop. I would not use these again. I don't even know why I have them. And if I was to use this, I would like sew it up rather than use these damn things. See what I'm saying? Yeah, I wouldn't use that. But I kind of use the Graphghan technique. So a Graphghan technique, I made this up, so don't look for it. I made it up. Graphghan technique. A Graphghan is a graph that you make into an Afghan. So being that you're making a graph into an Afghan, and you got to change colors to make it into an image, I decided a Graphghan technique is not making it into a Afghan. It's not making it into an Afghan. I'm making it into other things, but I'm using the technique of changing colors. So I call it Graphghan technique. And that's what I did when I do this. So I made a shirt and skirt a while ago, which used the Graphghan technique. Everybody was trying to figure out, how the hell you do that? How did you do that? Oh, it was so funny. Oh, she made panels and she sewed them together. Y'all really don't know Diva. If y'all think I'm going to make some panels, I don't do panels. Yeah, they was like, she did panels. Oh, she did it this way and she did it horizontal and vertical. And it was so funny but creative, because I'm like, this is how you guys do your garments, because this was in a group that do a lot of clothes. I'm like, oh wow, I never even thought of doing it like that. I know the best way I can do it is a Graphghan technique. And I literally took yarn and I changed the colors in the round. That's all I did. I did not carry not one. And that's another thing everybody couldn't understand. How wasn't you able to, like, you didn't carry all of that yarn? No, I don't carry. I used something called the pop, lock, and drop, which is something that I made up again. The pop, lock, and drop is my method of changing colors. So if you don't know what that is, I do have videos. Look it up. Pop, lock, and drop. Check it out. I also have techniques of not of being able to do it without weaving. I don't like weaving at all. And yeah, so that's how I came up with this, which is the technique of Graphghan. And when I did this horizontal. So I did 15 black, 15 white. And I just keep going, 15 black, 15 white, until I got up to, I believe this was 20. And then I stopped. Then I did it from the bottom and did another 20. So it was like 40 rows. And then I added the sides. But I added the sides different because, as you can see, it got the ribbed edge. So I added this a little bit different, sewed it together, and bam, that's how I got it. So let me get the graph for you so I can tell you. When I use the graphs, I have to calculate what exactly am I going to how am I going to add the graph in that space? I always make sure I have my mock first. Or if I'm using a pattern and I take the pattern to add the image to the pattern, I always make sure I look at that pattern first. The pattern is the guide on how big my image is going to be. Sometimes I'm able to do it, sometimes I'm not. Like the Cruella, for instance. I had to take the Cruella and do the minimalist, the minimalist art, because if I did the regular one with the eyes and everything, it just wouldn't have came out the way I needed to come out. So that's why I did that. But let me show you what I have. So this is the best thing about graphing. When you do your own graphs, you can manipulate any image you want to make it fit. And I think that's probably what a lot of issues people have, is because they don't graph. And when they don't graph, you don't grasp the concept of each square and how long it needs to be, how wide it needs to be. So when I said I did this in 20 rows and then I turned it around and did another 20 rows, I needed to make sure that that fit in the 20 rows. And it didn't at all. I had to make it a little larger, because in order for me to get Cruella to look like Cruella, it actually was bigger than this. It was like maybe 40 by 40. And that means I would have been making a duffel bag and not an actual like purse. So I had to make it a little smaller. It looks simple. Some may like it, some may not like it, but it got the job done. It got the job done. So I was able to use this minimalist. It was 30, it was 30 rows. So it's 30 by 30, which means it was 30 stitches across and 30 up high. So this is actually bigger than the 30 20 rows. It's probably 40. 40 and 40 is 80, right? Yep. What I also learned is your stitch matter and your stitch matter and your hook size matter. Of course, when your stitches are regular single crochet, you are able to pack in way more squares. If your hook is a smaller size, you're able to get it in the size that you need it to get. So that's what I had to do. I had to make sure that if I use a H hook, which is what, the 5.5, if I had to use the H hook, will that come out to what I need? Is it going to be super duper big, super duper small? H was just fine for what I needed to do. And I took the red. I made the red as the outline. Let me stop it here. I made the red as the outline. Why did I make the red as the outline? Because again, remember what I said, what I did down here? I didn't want this to show. The reason why I had to go from 1, I'm going to say 30. The reason why I had to go from 1 to 30, stop, turn it around, and then start from the other side from 31 to, I think it was 60 or something like that. The reason why I had to do that is because I did not want to make this all going in one long 60 by 60. I did not want to do that because Cruella was not going to turn out the way I needed it to turn out. I also wanted the base of the bag to have this red thing, and so that we're able to have a base of a bag. So it was best that I stopped and then flipped it over and then do it from the side. Yes, Coco, right? I can't go anywhere without this cat. This cat follows me everywhere I go. I'm surprised she ain't sitting on the keyboard, because that's what she usually do, sit on the keyboard. So I decided to take this. I started with the red. Then I add the black and the white, right? So when I add the black and the white, I just kept going, and I started with my graph. I followed the graph to the T. What I did decide to do, everything I make the graph the same exact size that I need it to be. For instance, I needed to make masks. I made masks, right? So what I did was I made the mask. I made this New York symbol and the whole entire rows. All the single crochets that I needed to make, I made it, and I think it was like 54 or something like that. So I did 54, and that's how I made it on my graph. I made it 54, and then I put the New York in the area where I knew it would fit best. Again, I made a mock one without anything. I made like 4 of them just so I know where I'm going to add the image. Is it going to work well? Because this mask is a mask that actually has the mouth. It covers the mouth like that. So this is Busy Peach's pattern. So if you guys want it, go check it out on her website. This is the pattern for her Busy Peach, and all I did was change it a little bit to add an image. But it's $5. Check it out. And she did an excellent job when it came to the construction. How I added my symbol on there, I still can't. Like Disha, she could tell you, she tried and she's like, I can't do this. How I did it, I can't tell you because you don't have the pattern. When you get the pattern, we could talk. But I also did a class where we did these. We did baby pants. And I also decided to make Jamaican style baby pants. How did I come up with the idea to do this? How did I have this on the sides? Easy. I knew that the actual pattern, which is a free pattern, forgot the name of it. I think it's just regular overall pattern, baby overall pattern. When I saw, I can look at a pattern and I can easily put a picture in my head, a picture in any area. This is real easy because this is a square. So this would be super duper easy to create. I did the pattern exactly how the lady had it, except for when it came to this part, I just added whatever picture I wanted. And I think for our class, when I did this for the class, we did a duck. And I gave that one away, so I don't even have that one. But we did a duck. And what I did was I had the graph exactly the same exact size that this bib needed to be. So when we did the bib, all they did was follow the graph exactly how it was. And that's how I was able to do that. So all of my graphs have the actual size I need to use. That right there will help you tremendously. If it's a shirt that you're making, you're going to take, if you're doing panels and the first panel may be the back side, I will do the whole entire back of the sweater and make the graph, even though the whole image may not be that whole entire back side, but I would make the graph the whole entire side. That way, if I have to make changes, that way I know as I'm following this graph, I know that this is where I need to be, and this is where all my stitches need to be. This is where I need to change the colors. I need to make it as simple as possible because we're doing a really difficult technique. So make sure your graph, like I said, is way easy if you know how to graph. If you don't know how to graph, when you are requesting a graph so that you can make a scarf, or it's best to say to whoever is making it that I want to make this image and put it on this sweater or cardigan, and I want it to be on the back, and I need it for extra large. That way I can say, or whoever can say, well, what pattern are you using? And if I know all the details, I can make that graph that same exact size of wherever you want it to be. If you wanted it on the front, like for me, I wouldn't want anything on my back. I would want something maybe on the side. So when I wear my cardigan, it'll just be right here. Maybe an initial, maybe a symbol, maybe my logo, something right here. And I don't want it huge and big. I would like it right here. So when I make the left side or right side of my cardigan, that's the side that I am going to add on my graph. So it might be 100. It might be 100 rows. I will have 100 rows on that graph, and I will have where I want my image and how big I want it, because I'm able to change it around, make it look nice. If I wanted to add some techniques around the area, if I wanted to make it stripe, I make the graph for it. Even if it's just stripes, I make the graph for it because making the graph makes it easier for me to plan out my decision. Okay, a hat. So a lot of people want to make hats, especially when it gets to the fall and winter. You can make money. You can make bank off of this stuff. Like, I could sell one of these hats, which is like a Graphghan hat, for like $40. With this, sometimes a little more, 50. With the faux fur pom pom, you can make a lot of money with this, especially with a custom made scarf. You can make a lot of money with this. When I made this, I did the graph. So in order to make this fit my big head, whether it's with braids, no braids, lots, whatever, or if you just want it plain, I do automatically 73 chains. Majority of all my hat, 73 chains, give or take, depending on who it's for. That's for an adult hat, not child. I would do the 73. So I would make the graph 73 in width. And I do know a regular hat, in order for it to be a hat, you have to make it go up at least 14, 15 rows. So I would make the graph. I would make it 72, 73 squares wide, and then 15 rows high. Then I add my little designs to make it look like it's animal print. And I will add that into the graph. When I add it into the graph, I actually have a pattern for this. So the graph comes with a pattern. And I think I also have it written too. So it's not just the graph. But when I do this, I would do the brim first. Sometimes, because I'm very versatile, I make my hats in all different types of ways. Sometimes I would start at the top. Sometimes I would start at the bottom. If I want a brim, I would start with the brim first and then attach the brim. You know, when you do this, you attach it and then you start adding this. And then you go into the round. I probably would do like 2 or 3 rows of just single crochet, and then I would start the design. When I start the design, I would go like, you can't even tell where it starts. You can't tell. Well, actually, yeah, I could tell now. I could tell. Right here is where I had did my seam. But I can't tell all the way up. I just tell right here. Yeah, I just tell right here. But what I do when I do my hats is I do it in a round. I do it in a round because it's so much easier for me to do it in a round rather than that square that I explained somebody else did earlier. Yeah, that's not gonna work for me. I do it in a round, but they don't call it the round. They call it rows. Because when I get to that first stitch, I would slip stitch, I would make a chain, and then I would turn it around. And then I would go back that way again. And then when I get back to that first one again, I would slip stitch, make a chain, and turn around. So I'm going back the other way. So I'm going clockwise and then counterclockwise, and then clockwise and then counterclockwise. I do that because it's so much easier. You're not carrying all that yarn because you don't want a heavy hat with all that yarn inside. You want your customers to come back to you. This is also, if you turn it inside out, it's the same thing because I don't play with mine. And you do not see anything carried. Yes, it can be a lot of work, but the finished product is phenomenal, and you're able to charge at least $15 to $20 more than if you did a regular hat. So it's worth it. It's definitely worth it. So you could do the hat from the top, like I said, and if you do it from the top, you start off with the regular, I think 6 chains. You can start it with 6, you can start it with 9, and you just keep going around increasing. And once I get to the crown of the hat, that's when I will start doing my my design. The reason why I do that is because I don't want to do my design in the area that I'm increasing. I don't want to. I don't want to do it because it's the part that's going to be up here, your crown. So I don't do it for that part. Once I stop the increase, then that's the area where you're going to just do that same exact number that you get to. And maybe the 72. And you do that all the way down for like 14, 15 rows, depending on what type of hat you're doing, more or less. And then you can add your brim if you're going to add the brim. So I could do it, like I said, from the top down or from the bottom up. I think that the hat that I loved the most was one that I did ripples, and I don't even have it. I do have a picture of it, but me and this cat gonna have a long talk. Yeah, I think she had some catnip, so she's kind of high running around. But anyway, so the best one that I did was a ripple, ridged or ripple, or maybe I should just show you because I'm like not understanding what I'm saying right now. When I did that hat, it was should I show it on here? No. When I did the hat, it was, to me, the best hat that I did, and it came out way better than I thought. And the thing about it is, the reason why I can't use it all the time is because the all images are not gonna look good with that ripple or ridge or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what you call it. I have no idea what you call it. But yeah, you don't want to make something where you can't see your letters. So when I did it with my OES letters. So I added OES, and when I add the OES, I did it with the ripples, and it came out so nice. I don't even know what happened to that thing. I think somebody took it off my head, to be honest with you. I really think somebody took it off my head, because I don't have it now. I used to have it. It was actually mine because I just wanted to make it, to see how it come out. Again, I like to play around before I make it for anyone else. And yeah, I think somebody took it off my head. Yeah, somebody took it off my head. So I want to show you that before I move on and show you the other hat, which I think I have here or not. I don't know. I thought I had everything up here and ready. I guess not. So you know how when you make the letters that you like, it's like I found it. It's like the 3D letters where you crochet the letters and then you put it on top. Well, somebody asked me to make that, and I told them, hell to the no, you don't know me if you're gonna ask me to do something like that. Yeah, if somebody wants to do it, by all means do it. And I honestly think some people make it like with the diaper covers. Oh my god, it's so cute. It comes out really, really cute. So don't get me wrong. It is ways you could do it and making it look really, really cute. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I don't know why it's not I think I have to put it in another tab. There we go. I put it in another tab. Okay. So here it is. The ridge that I am talking about. It's not coming up. Why? This is stupid. I think here it is. I think I had to put it in a different area. Yep, I had to put it in a different area. So this is the hat that I was talking about, with the ridge ripple. I don't know what you call it. Tell me. What do you call this? So I did it on the side. I did the hat on the side, and what I decided to do was when I made it in regular single crochet, and then the last like 5 stitches, I did slip stitch. That way it was easier for me to make it into the bunch it up, like close the top and add the faux fur. The faux fur pom-pom. It was a lot of things that I would change when I did that. This cat. It's a lot of things that I would change. Like I would make it, you know, a little bit up. I would like centerize it. And that's what I told the person. Like, this is really just a mock-up, but they didn't care. They wanted to buy it off my head, which I wouldn't do that, but they did. And again, when I decided to make this, I made it for me, and I did it with the intentions of just playing around with it, but it actually came out way better than I thought, and I like this. I really do. But I decided to do it again with a different image, and when I did it with the different image, the image didn't come out right because of the ripples or ridges or whatever you call it. Because of that, it was hiding certain parts of the image, so that was a no-no. So if I decide to do this type of hat, I would do it with letters, and it would be block letters. Ridge. Why don't that sound right? How come when I hear certain things, it could be the right answer, and in my mind, I'm like, that don't sound right. And it's the right answer. Thank you, Celeste. What's wrong with me? I need help. Maybe I had catnip. I don't know. Really? Haha? Really? I just spilled my water. So, any other questions you guys have? I could go over some other things with you. I could go into depth on how I did the circular. When I do the bag, I do the bag in so many different ways. I did a bag in a tote bag one time. When I did the tote bag, actually I got like 4 more orders. Like just like yesterday, I got 4 more orders for this tote bag. This tote bag is like all-time favorite top quick gift idea for all of the sororities, organizations. When they want something, they always say, can I get that tote bag? Can I get that tote bag? I'm going to show you the tote bag. When I did the tote bag, it was OMG. Like, I did so many of them, but I did them in so many different designs. I add the names to them or initials, and it was just so cute. It came out so cute, and it's like the #1 seller, and I sell them for at least $80 to $100 each. Y'all better get that money. So you could do it in single crochet. I would not do it in HDC. It might be too big in HDC. Or you could do it in single crochet, but I would not do it in HDC or double crochet. I did say single crochet. Or you could do it in Tunisian. So Tunisian crochet is what I did the bag in. I did all of the bags. All of them. Except for one. I'm lying. I did all of the bags in Tunisian crochet. And I think that was the hit because it looked different. When you do Tunisian crochet, your stitches come out straight and neat. So it's not jagged, you know, like when we do our blankets and stuff, it's a little jagged. That came out so perfect. And I did like 8 or 9 of those bags, maybe 10. I don't even remember. I was knocking them out. It was like one summer, I was just getting order on top of order on top of order for these bags. And it was just crazy. So as you can see, that's a that bag is a AKA. I did one in Delta, did one in I did all the female sororities. I don't think I did any in the men because, you know, I don't think they want tote bags. But yeah, I did all of the females. I think I did another one that was just Afrocentric. And that one was not an organization at all. That was just Afrocentric. And my sister wanted me to do another one, I think, with Jack and Jill. That's another organization for moms who and their kids. So I was going to do one with that. But let me tell you, I came up with this design because I needed to do a really quick gift for my sister. And when I did the quick gift, I said, let's do a bag. I never did a bag like this before, but I knew that I could do it. I knew I could do it. I made the graph first. Usually, like I'm telling you guys to do a mock-up, I did not do the mock-up because I was so confident that I could rock this. I was so confident that this bag right here is going to be all that. So it actually did. It came back all that. And again, like I said, I got 4 more orders for a bag like this. It's for a couple of ladies who are going into, actually just yesterday, they went into their sorority. So now they're AKAs and they are getting a bag. And they want them in all different designs. None of them with the same exact design. They all want different designs. You know, if you know me and you follow me, you know I don't play with them designs. I'm going to make it pop. So, how do I come up with these designs? I have no idea. I do use a lot of shirts, t-shirts as inspiration. I use a lot of, I make illustrations. I use that as inspiration. I use things that people give me as inspiration. Like I have a cousin and friends that make stuff with Cricut. I use that as inspiration. I use anything I could put my mind to it as inspiration. And I might change it a little bit. I might make it a little different. But either way, it always comes out looking good. And I get so excited when I do this bag. So basically I did the front with the image and I did it in a regular square. I don't remember how big it was, but it wasn't extremely huge. Again, I did it in Tunisian crochet. I'm really quick with Tunisian crochet, so I can knock these things out really quick. Then I did the gusset, which is the sides. And I did that one probably like maybe 6 stitches across. And I did it for like maybe 150 rows. And then I had it go as I had it as the strap, and I made it down to the sides. Now there was another one that I made with like 2 straps in the front and the back. So depending on how I feel that day or when I'm making it, that's how I decide on how I'm going to make it. I try to make them all different because I don't like doing the same thing all the time. I don't know why, I just don't. I don't like doing the same thing all the time. So I try to make them a little bit different. And each one that I do, I make it a little bit better because I know how to make them now. And like I said, I just made this. It's like a, not even a square. It's like a rectangle. I make it like a rectangle. And I add the bottom. So the bottom is 2. So what I would do is I would make maybe I think it was like 8x8 or 10x10 bottom, but I would do it twice and then sew them together. That way the bottom is thick. And then I would add the gusset to the sides, and then I would sew them apart. I would sew them together, I mean. And that's it. Like, it's just crazy how I told my sister I could do a bag and had no idea what bag I was doing, how I was doing it, and let alone an image. So I'm pretty sure anyone can do that. If you want to make a tote bag, I think the tote bag is the easiest rather than the other bags that I have, because you actually are making like a square or a rectangle. I do believe I made it like 80 rows high. Yeah. Because I wouldn't go any bigger. So I know it had to be 80 rows. Yeah. And when you do Tunisian crochet, it does come out a little bit smaller than if you did single crochet. So always take that into consideration. Depending on the stitch that you have, you don't want it to be too small or too big. So like I said, I do know for a fact that that was 80. But if I did it in single crochet, it would look almost like a baby blanket. And it would be kind of huge. So that wouldn't have been a great idea. So that's another thing that I try to use to know how I am going to make it and the size that's going to come out. And if I ad lib, I ad lib. I usually leave the bag open. I don't add anything to it. But if you guys ever decide to make it, you can add a button to it or zipper or whatever. I've never added a zipper to anything, so I really can't tell you anything about a zipper. So the next thing I'm going to show you is something I'm currently doing, which I was supposed to be finished today, but you know, my orders go first. But I'm still gonna finish it because I want to give it to this nurse. So we did for the month of May challenge, and the challenge was to make something for a nurse and give it to that nurse and take a picture. And I got a couple of people who already did it. But this one is going to be mine because I really want to give it to this special nurse. I believe she deserves it, and she worked so hard at her job, and she's working so hard at home. So I figured, why don't I make this? Now this is the super nurse symbol. So if you guys were in that challenge, I'm pretty sure you saw the symbol. It's a super nurse with the nurse hat on top. This is what I made. And I think it was like 80 by 80. I don't know. It was something. So when Disha and I decided to sit down and do this bag. This is the bag. The bag that we originally wanted to do, it just was not going to work out in our favor. It was not going to execute the way we needed to execute. So again, we had to start all over. And there that goes when what's in my head has to be executed in a certain way and it just does not work out. So I go to plan B, which was we both looked for a pattern that we could use and manipulate. I could have just made it up in my head, but I really, really, really thought it would be better if I show her how to manipulate a pattern. So we used a pattern, which was a free pattern, and we just found it online. We used the free pattern, and we started with how the pattern started. But eventually, we had to change it. So what I decided to do was I had to make it the size that I needed it to be so that my image can fit right here and smack in the middle. Again, you don't want that square look and then the image is like so huge on the bag. You want the bag to bring out the image and the image to bring out the bag without it overloading the whole thing. So I centerized it. I calculated based off of the pattern. So for instance, if the pattern was 100 by 100, I took this image and I just calculated how much am I going to add free space at the bottom, on the sides, and on the top so that this can fit in the middle and not all over. You know, you don't want it huge and big. You don't want it like that. You want it to just fit in the middle. So that's what we did. I calculated it. So this bag goes into the round. So again, we had to modify the pattern because we cannot go in the round with a Graphghan. We had to do it in rows. So as you can see, this is in a round, but we did it in rows. The brain fart you have. Yeah, I think that for some apparent reason, this was a little tedious because of the sizing and the fact that we're going counterclockwise and clockwise. So we kept going back and then turning back around. And when you do that, sometimes you adding an extra stitch or subtracting a stitch. And that's only because you have to remember. So I use a stitch marker. You have to remember when you stopped and you did the slip stitch and then you turn it around. You have to remember when you go back, when you slip stitch again and you turn around, whether you're going to do it in that same stitch or the one next to it. And that's where I was going wrong in the beginning. And I think Disha was too, because her count was a little bit less than mine. I think I had way more. She had way less. I don't know how we did it, but we actually was able to get it together though. After we figured out where our issues was, we figured it out and got it together. So I think she's way ahead of me, but I can knock this out like really quick, but my orders go first. So yeah, once I'm finished, this is going to be a drawstring bag. So that's all we did. We made the bottom almost like how if you was doing a baby booty, and you make your chains and then you continue on the other side, and then you just keep going around and around and around. And once we got to a good length, I think I said 8 rows. Once we got to 8 rows, then I was able to start this. So once we started this, we had to get this, which was 2 stitches. We had to make sure we get these 2 stitches smack dead in the middle, even though we have to count this part. So that was where the calculation started, because we had to count. Really? This cat won't leave me alone. Oh my gosh, she's like literally right here in between my legs. So we had to, when I did the graph, what I did was I added the amount of rows that we had to use. I believe it was 70 something. We had to add the rows. So I did that on the graph, and all I did was calculate half of that, and where I could put the 2 little slits in there, the 2 little single crochets, and for it to be even on this side and even on this side, even on both sides. Again, I had to make sure this was good because this is the back, and this part was good because this is the front. So I had to make sure it was even on both sides. And you just have to basically use math. And I'm not good at math. But apparently, the Lord allowed me to be a little bit wise when it comes to Graphghans, because I'm always able to figure it out. I don't know how, but I am. I'm always able to figure it out. So yes, that's how we did it. We was able to do it so that this can go in the middle and we can still have all of this. And once I'm done, we're going to add the string to the top just to make it a drawstring. I believe we're adding straps to it, like a book bag. Yeah, I think it's a book bag because we was looking for like a little book bag. That's another thing. I want to make a book bag. Now, this right here is going to be a challenge for me. How am I going to do that? Of course, I'm going to have to make the mock up and make it without any image whatsoever. But then I'm going to have to figure out where I'm going to put the image, where it's going to be, how big it's going to be, what am I going to put, is it going to fit, will it look too bulky? These are the things you need to figure out. So make sure whatever you make, okay, I always follow some type of pattern. Every single thing I do, I follow steps. Like when I graph, I follow steps. Each time I graph, I'm following these steps, merging the colors, making sure, I do that with everything I do. So when I'm about to make anything like a bag or whatever with a Graphghan, I follow the steps. What am I going to make? How am I going to make it? What image am I going to do? Can I do it? Will the size look good? Do I need to do a minimalist, or I could do something with details? Then I need to make sure that the size of the graph can fit into the area that I'm putting in. So if I needed to go online and find a pattern, the pattern does not add up with my graph, I need to change one of them. Am I going to change the graph, or am I going to change the bag? A lot of times I would try to keep the graph the way it is and just modify the pattern. So I could take whoever's pattern, give them credit for it, but you could take whoever's pattern or whatever you remember from making something before and do it yourself. Lately I've been just making up my own stuff. I don't even need a pattern. I just make up my own stuff. But if you're going to manipulate a pattern and modify it a little bit, you can make it to fit that graph. So in Graphghan's University, I have tons and tons and tons of samples that they're free. So I use the samples, like for instance, this one was for Elmo, right? So it's a bunch of samples there, 25 by 20, 15 by 15, 40. So if you are trying to learn how to do a Graphghan, one of these would be perfect to start off with, all right? Okay, so say if I wanted to make this book bag and I wanted the pocket to have the image. I wanted to make this for my niece. She loves Melmo. She loves Elmo. So this would be the pocket on the front. So I would be able to use that sample, which is 20 by 20. I think this is 20 by something. I don't know. 20 by 20 maybe. I will be able to use that 20 by 20 and make the pocket on that book bag. The pattern may be 10 by 10. So if I make the pocket a little bit bigger, I might have to make the bag a couple of, stitches larger. That's it. That's all. Whatever samples that I have, there's so many of them and they're really diverse. They're not all the same. You could take one of those, like for instance, the African American lady. I have that here too. You could take that. I literally use samples for this. I use what you call it, scrap yarn to make this. But you can literally take this and make it into anything. Like I could probably make this into a bag, a pouch, right? You can make it into anything. I would just add it on as I go to the pattern. I wouldn't make it like this, the square, and then add the pattern to the square. I would make it along with whatever I'm making. So anyone have any questions? Because I think I covered everything. Yeah, I think I did. I did want to show this real quick though. How did I do this? Let me see. The nurse. Did I put nurse power or super nurse? It's not nurse strong. Superhero. Okay, so this is 40 by 40. Okay, I can show you this. This is 40 by 40. So all I did was make my nurse is my superhero. Yeah. That's it. Nurse is my superhero. Okay. So this is what I used to make this. And as you can see, I highlighted the areas where I'm at. So this is exactly where I'm at right now. Where that blue line is at, that's where I'm at right now. So when I do it, let me see, where am I? I'm gonna show you something real quick. Tisha, what hook did we use? We used the H, right? I think we used the H. I think we did. Yeah, I think we used the H. So right here on the side is where or is it the side? Yeah, it's on the other side. That's where we have no, this is it. I can't even say it. You can't even see it. That's a good thing. That's a great thing. Ha ha ha. Is my camera up? I think my camera is up. Yeah. Just in case. So when I do this, like I said, because I know some people are still trying to understand, we use the I. Okay. I forgot, girl. What would I do without you? You and Shay save my life all the time, man. I'm like, my mind is so scattered because I'm just so busy. So we use the I hook. And when I am going back to that first stitch, I'm going to do a slip stitch. Right? When I do the slip stitch, I would do one chain and then turn. So when I turn, I'm going into the same stitch, and I would do. Did we do single crochet or half double? I know you think I'm crazy. I think we did single crochet. So I'm going. So we're going to keep on going all the way until we get to we did HDC. Jesus. What the hell? What the hell am I on? Something wrong with me. Why did I do HDC? Because I know the actual bag was, I know why we did HDC. The actual bag was, the pattern was the crisscross single crochet. So the crisscross single crochet is raised a little bit and HDC is raised a little bit. So that's why we did that. Okay, so once we get to where we are at with the graph, and I'm following my graph, I'm just going to do the regular pop, lock, and drop to change. But as you can see, my string that I left from the previous row is already there. Everything is already there. So when I get to the next one, when I get to the next color, that's going to already be there as well. So you don't have to worry about carrying anything, cutting, because that's what some people do. The method of cutting their stitches and putting it back on again. I think that is so much more work doing that. Yeah, so I think, oh, okay, I see what it is. So this is just one straight line, but if I did have to change colors, it would be right there already for me. And that's why I love to do my rounds in that type of way. And then once I get all the way over here and back to this spot again, this spot is already raised a little bit because, you know, I'm going all the way around. Then I would slip stitch here, make a chain, and then turn again, and then go back that way. And when you do that, your hanging strings is right there waiting for you. So you do not have to worry about going from, you know, when you're going around, your stitches are going to be on the other side. So you have to pull it over. Yeah, you don't have to do all of that. And that's how I do my hats. That's how I do whatever I need to do in the round, so that I do not have to stitch anything up and make it work or carry or whatever. I don't have to do none of that. So, anybody have any questions, or did I give you some knowledge of something? Did I help you with anything? What would you want to make? What do you want to make that will be your next project that you want to add an image? Do you want to create your own? Do you see a pattern that you already like that you wanted to add something to? Like, I really want to know. I'm like so curious on other things that you guys want to do, and I can help. I can like help you if you want to learn how to construct it. I think somebody asked me something about did I ever make you know, the pocket shawls or the pocket scarf or whatever it is. No, I never made it, but this person wanted me to make a Juneteenth one. And I'm like, how am I going to make a Juneteenth one? What is the significance of Juneteenth, or just the colors? Did you want just the colors or whatever? And she said she wanted the Black Lives Matter fist, and she wanted the colors, you know, the black, green, and red. And I actually thought that would be a little tacky. I didn't think it would be a great idea. So I opted out of doing it. And so she started asking other crocheters. I think she even added a post like, can somebody do this? And all these people came out of nowhere saying, I could do it, I could do it, I could do it. And she decided to pick one. They did it. She sent it to me, the picture, and she said, Diva, I need you to make this. I am so mad right now because it did not turn out the way I needed it to turn out. And I think it's because the actual pattern is a different stitch. So I think they tried to use that stitch, but add the Graphghan thing. Now, they didn't even add the picture that she wanted to the pocket, because I thought that would be a little better to do it on the pocket than to make it on the whole entire scarf or shawl, whatever you call it. Instead, she made this huge, like one side of the scarf or shawl was the hand, and then the other side was BLM. So I guess when she had it down, going across her, the hand fist was here and the BLM was here. And then the pocket was just there on top of the picture. So it actually didn't come out the way she wanted it. And yeah, they probably need a little bit more help when it came to executing the idea of adding all of that stuff. But like I told her, I don't think it would be a great idea. Didn't think it would be a great idea. I couldn't picture in my head, how can I make this pocket shawl nice, because it's already nice. The pocket shawl is already nice, and it's already it really don't need anything. It just make it in a lot of colors. You really don't need anything. But I guess she wanted to be different. Again, I did not make it, so she actually never got it. She had the one that this person got, and she said she will not use it. She will not wear it. She was like, never again will she go to anybody else, and she will listen to me. Don't listen to me. This is just my opinion. Like, I'm pretty sure there's somebody out there who probably can do it and like rock it. I just felt like I was not that right person because I didn't think it would look. I don't think you need a damn picture on it. I don't think you need a picture on it at all. Somebody else wanted me to make a cape with the OES star on the back. I didn't think that was a great idea either. And I said, absolutely not. So these are the things that I don't do because there's a limit for me. The poncho that goes around a cape. I'm going to call it a cape because she wanted it to go around her neck and then just, flare out from the back. And she wanted the star. It could be done. I just didn't think it would look nice. A cape is elegant. What she wanted to wear it for was her regalia for OES, Order of Eastern Stars. I'm an Eastern Star, and what we were always taught was you do not have to wear that symbol like blood out. You want it to be right there like this, and that's it. You don't want it to be all over big. So based off of what I was taught and based off of what I'm trying to picture it, which I couldn't, I didn't think it would be a good idea, so I told her no. What I could do is add a little one right here. So as she has it draped around her, I will have the little star right there. And I said I could do that. And then on this side, she wanted me to add her chapter number. So the star here and her chapter number. Yeah, I said, yeah, I could do that. But I'm not charging anything less than $400. Of course, she ain't paid that. You're adding an actual picture and you're adding all of this to a cape. Now the cape is already like, it wasn't just a regular cape. It was like a beautiful, beautiful cape. Boho, I think it was. It was really beautiful. It didn't need anything. But I told her I would add a little star and I would add her number. And that means I have to construct the whole entire cape while adding this Graphghan to it. And yeah, $400. And without the Graphghan, it still would have been like $350 or something like that. I just could not see myself making it anything less than that. And I honestly wouldn't suggest anybody else to at all. At all. But anybody else have any questions? Nobody else have any questions? Is there anybody who wants me to show them something, tell them something, explain something? How can you do something? How can I make this? How can I add that? What graph can I use? How, it's crazy because when I do these things and when I'm finished, then the questions, because a lot of people don't know what questions to ask while they're on because it's so much information. But yeah, it's best to get me now because you don't know when you ever gonna get me to do this again. I don't know. Also, when you're doing the I did bring this out for a reason. When you're doing whatever project that you're doing, make sure it's the same exact weight of yarn. Do not use different weights of yarn. For instance, these two are the same exact weight, but it's really not. So what I usually do is I would take the yarn and I would put them up against each other, and you can tell one is thinner. The blue one is thinner than the burgundy. So when you see that, you don't want to use it because then the burgundy is going to overpower this one. And when that happens, you're going to start seeing holes in your work. And you don't want to see holes in your work. So as you're crocheting, say if the gray was thinner than this blue, the gray is going to start, the blue, I'm sorry, is going to overpower the gray, and then you're going to start seeing holes. and you don't want holes in your work. I actually had the problem with the mask because she, in her pattern for the mask, Busy Peaches pattern for the mask, you have to have thin yarn. So I just looked up it last year. They had a sale on ZZ Twist Lion Brand yarn, and I was sick at that time. I had the virus, the Rona, and it was a sale. Celeste, I believe, told me about it. Either Celeste or Cynthia. I think it was Johnson. She told me about it. When she told me about it, I ran. Oh, and Annette. They all told me about it. I ran. I'm sick, right? I can't breathe. I can't taste. I can't smell. I ran and got that yarn because it was $1. It's originally like 3 something or 4 something each. And they're like little tiny skeins. But I got a whole lot of them because they was only $1, the ZZ Twist. And they're so thin. Why? I have no idea. Because I really don't need to use them. But it just so happened that I had them. And when I saw that you needed thin yarn for the mask, I used them. And it was like a win-win situation. Like I had a whole lot of colors and everything. So I was able to use it. It's almost like thin like thread. And look how neat it came out. I had to use the B, the letter B, the size B hook. So it was really small. And that's how I was able to get this, and this small area. So again, this versus this, it was 2 different size hooks and 2 different size yarn. They make a difference. This New York symbol is just about the same size as this African Afro lady. They're about the same size, even though it don't look like it, but they are. So the size yarn that I used and hook that I used, I was able to add this into this small area. And as you can see, the stitches are so small, like so small. So because I was using the B hook and the ZZ Twist yarn, I was able to do that. So take that, put it in your brain. So when you want to make something and the graph is like way big and you don't want to take away from it, you want all those details, it may be a great idea to just make it a little small. You just have to, it might take a little longer. You might have to make it larger, but you're able to add every last detail of that symbol. So that's something I had wanted to mention. I forgot. The same size. This one is just a little bit bigger because I used this is HDC, and I also used J hook. And the yarn is Big Twist. So it makes a difference. It makes a difference. What size hook do you normally use for your Graphghans? When I make a blanket, I normally use the I or the J. Either one of these. I don't go any smaller or any larger. They recommend on like whatever yarn I use, like most likely I use Big Twist. When I use the Big Twist on the package, it recommends for you to use the H or the I. Because I make my blankets depending on the size, like a baby. Right now I'm making, can you give me that blanket on the bed for me? On my bed. Can you give me the blanket off my bed? The blanket that I'm making is 100 by 100. This is an example of how I use what hook. The 100 by 100 is because I need to do it quick. They only want crib size. And you can, the crochet blanket, you know what the hell I'm talking about. The red and black blanket that I'm making, baby blanket. So, being that I lost my train of freaking thought. Okay, it's a crib size, and I made it 100 by 100 because I could get it done. Today's the 5th day. I'm gonna finish it today. I only got 20 rows. When I make it 100 by 100, you could go a little bit bigger by using a J hook. So when I use the J hook and use HDC, it's gonna be a little bit larger than if you use single crochet in the I hook. Thank you. I appreciate you. So that's why I decided to use the J hook for this. Now, if I was doing a regular twin size Graphghan, I would just use this. Or somebody asked me why don't I just continue to use the J hook. I can, but I don't. The I hook is my favorite of all times. It's just that when I come into occasions of making the crib size, I kind of want to make it a little larger based off of my stitches and the hook. That's it. It honestly really don't matter. But I definitely do use one of these for my Graphghans. For any one of the items that I showed, like a bag, the hat, the mask, that all depends on what I'm making. It also depends on what stitch I'm using, how big I need it, how small I need it. So for this, I use the H. For this, I use the H. And for this, we use the I. For this, because this was extremely small, I used the B. And so on. This, I think this one was the H. The actual pattern called for the H, so I just used what the pattern asked. That's all. But for this, like I said, this is 100 by 100. So this is going to be a crib size. So it's a Jordan's blanket, but I added the baby to it. The baby's name in here, and I'm just gonna add some Jordan sneakers to it and some shorts, maybe headband and some wristbands, and that's it for this order. And this order, I thought this order had to be done by this Saturday, but apparently that was yesterday or the day before yesterday. I thought it had to be done by the day before yesterday, but then they told me, no, it's not until the 5th. So I'll be ready and finished by tomorrow. So I'm on time with this, and I could go on to my next project, which is Father's Day Giants blanket. But yeah, this is the one I'm doing currently, and I just started like a couple of days ago, and I will be finished today. I'll be done today. All right, what's the other questions? I have a small Graphghan on my make 9 list. I haven't started yet. I'm scared. Mad Mimi's Crochet and Farming. Don't be scared. Just go in and do it and have fun. When you get scared, then it's gonna be hesitation, and when it's hesitation, then you're gonna have some kinks in it, and then it's gonna be some, you get nervous and weary, and then you're gonna be like, I can't do this, and I don't know what else to do. Have fun. That's what they're supposed to be for. That's what crocheting is, to have fun and relax. Don't make it stressful. Have fun with it. You can always take it out and try over again. You don't have to be scared of it. Because just like how I was taught how to drive a car, you're in control. The car isn't. You are. The yarn isn't in control. The hook isn't in control. You are in control. So whatever you do and how you can make it happen, That's what the yarn is going to do. It's magic. It does whatever you tell it to do. So just tell it to calm down, relax, and let me do this. And it will. Send me some of that yarn so I can make the mat. Actually, I sent a lot to Natalie. I'm still waiting for my earrings, and I know she ain't on here, but I want my earrings. I have never done one and don't even know where to start. It's C2C one from Yarn Inspirations. Okay, so Graphghan and C2C to me is completely apples and oranges. I do not do C2C because to me it just comes out looking like babyish. And I did a video on that, the C2C stitches versus single crochet and half double crochet. If I'm doing it for a baby, yeah, I would probably do it. It's very the yarn, it's a yarn hoarder for real. And I don't get the concept of making 4 double crochets and then turning it to the side and making another 4 double crochets versus me just doing one whole line of single crochets or half double crochets. I just feel, well, for me, I just feel doing a half double crochet or single crochet in a line is way easier than doing 4 double crochets and making it into a corner. So just not a fan of C2C, but I did see a lot of them that are cute. And am interested in making tote Graphghans, but just stuck on how to construct and how do you make your straps. Okay, so Leonette, how did I make my straps? What I did was just add the gusset. So like I explained, the gusset is the side of your bag. So for instance, this right here is the gusset. This is what's going to make your bag wide. So whatever size you want your bag to be, that's how thick or long you're going to make your straps. I made my straps different ways. So I would have 2 maybe handles that they could use with the hand, or you could have that one long one that they could put right here on the shoulder. It's many ways you can make the strap. The strap that I had in the bag that I showed you guys is the one that I use as a gusset. And I just made it extra longer so that it can be the strap as well. So I made it 2 in 1. It was easier because I think I was in a time crunch. So instead of making the gusset on the side and then the straps, I just made the straps into the gusset. And depending on what type of tote bag, you're just making a rectangle, front and back, and then the sides, and then you make your straps. The straps I would do to make it like maybe six single crochets across. I would do it first. I would make 6 chains or 8 chains, make it into single crochets, and I would look to see if this is a good width. I would put it around my bag because I would do the front and the back first. And then I would put it by my bag, see if it's a good width, and then I would add or delete depending on how I feel that day. It's no right or wrong answer, and just make sure if you're making it a tote bag, is the person going to use it for papers or like personal items? Because then that means you might want to make it a little bit thicker. But when I made my tote bags, I made it because they use theirs for like paperwork to go to their meetings and stuff. So I didn't make it too wide. So 6 to 8 chains and single crochets going up was what I did. I actually didn't do single crochet. I did Tunisian, but I think I did like 6 to 8 going across. Let's see. Do you carry your yarn or do you use bobbins? Never, ever, ever, ever do I carry my yarn because so the difference between Graphghans and Tapestry. Tapestry is where you are making like you can make a hat, you can make a bag, you can make bowls, baskets, and when you do it with Tapestry, it's thick. And the reason why it's thick is because you're wrapping all that yarn and you're changing the color as you go. So you're carrying each color, and it may be like 5 different colors, but you're carrying each color along the whole entire project. When you do that, you can sometimes see through to the other colors, and it, like I said, it will be real thick. So I never ever carry my yarn because I want my front to look like my back and my back to look like my front, except for the mirror image. And carrying the yarn, you could definitely see that yarn in between, and I never want anyone to see yarn in between, so I never carry my yarn. What I do is let it hang. I don't use bobbins. You can if you want. Some people use it because they don't like the yarn to tangle. I'm sorry. The bobbins get on my nerves and I just want to start. So I just let it hang. And as you can see, that's exactly what it's doing. Just hanging. It does not get extremely tangled because the way when I'm finished, I do the same for all of them until I'm able to put it up. And I go like this. And whatever is hanging, I put right here in the middle and then go like this. And I do that because when I pick it back up the next day, it will definitely be in that same exact spot, and it didn't move. It don't get tangled. And as I'm turning my work, so this is the problem that a lot of people have as well. When I turn my work, when I am going from left to right and right to left. So I finished this side. So now I need to turn this way. Okay, so when I'm finished this side and I have to turn back again, I turn back the other way. It's almost like turning a page in the book, but you're turning that same page. So you're going forward and backwards, the same exact way. And I just keep doing that so that my yarn at the bottom is not tangling each time I'm turning it around. So I just go like this, and then I go like that. Sometimes, yes, I do forget which way I go, but I will also mark it on the graph. So I will mark on the graph, I turn right, and then I will mark, I turn left. And also, I have like a little technique I use in my head on how I know what's the front and the back. So if I know that I'm on the front, I know that I'm going to turn this way. If I know that I'm on the back, I'm turning this way. So I've been doing it so long, and I've been doing it with all my Graphghans that it's like embedded in my head. So I know I'm looking at the back, so that means I'm turning this way. And then when I'm at the front, I know I'm turning back this way. I also make sure that all my strings are to the back, no matter what I'm making. Hat, scarf, overalls, mask, whatever I make, all strings are to the back. How do I know? I have this little saying. If you're going to start on row 1, that means number 1 is odd, number 2 is even. Row 1 means that I'm looking at the front. So odd means you're in the front. And then when I'm on row 2, I'm looking at the back. So that means the back means you're on the even. So if I'm on row 14, that's an even number. That means this side is the back. If I'm on row 21, that's odd. That means I'm looking at the front. So I use my graph to guide me on what's the front, what's the back, and where I'm going to turn, left or right. And that's how I do it, so that this can look as neat as possible. Make sure all of your strings are to the one side so that it doesn't mess up this side. And I have them hanging until I cut, because I don't weave them in. The only time I weave in is if it's a single one and I cannot crochet over it, then I will weave it in. And I probably get to weave in maybe 5, no more than 10 on a really detailed image. So I will weave in 10 strings and the rest I cut. And I use the sewing scissors. That's easier to do. You just go like this and cut, because it cuts closer. And then I will go like this so that there is not no little fringes sticking up. I also realized that when you wash your strings, sometimes the fringy part sticks out. Now, when I wash it, I don't have the fringy part. It's 9 times out of 10 like this. So the fringy part does not necessarily stick out for me, because I always make sure when I cut, for instance, I'm going to show you. So right here, I'm going to cut. When I cut, I'm going to cut as close as I can. And then I'm going to go like this. When I go like that, it goes in there. I also spray it down. And I use fabric softener, the spray for the fabric softener. I take a little part of fabric softener and like a whole cup, maybe 2 cups of water, and I spray it. I spray it down and wash it or air dry it or whatever. You air dry it and it does not come out. I don't have that problem. I wanted to use Big Twist a little bit more because I just started using Big Twist last year. Before that, I was using Red Heart and I Love This Yarn. But since I've been using Big Twist so far, I haven't had any problems. And it doesn't come out fringy. And I just stick to what I know because it helps. Okay, so any other questions? Hey, Busy Peach. So Busy Peach LLC, this is her pattern that I was talking about. This is the pattern that you need to get before I can do anything else with this. Everybody wants to know, how did you get that? I can't talk until you get the pattern. Once you get the pattern, you might understand a little bit more, but I can't explain it. It's hard to explain. And each picture that I use is different. So if I used the Afro lady one time, that is going to be a different count, and it's going to be a different way, a different method. None of them was the same. And yeah, her pattern is so good and detailed that you can't screw up. She even have the little check marks for you, and you put it into that little plastic thing and you can erase your check marks. Like, it's the bomb pattern. And I did this at least 30 times. I made a whole lot of masks, different colors, different shapes, different sports, everything. Like, I did so many of them. And it's really, really, really simple. So go to her website, busypeach.com, and get that. And you can make use some mask covers, because that's what we use them for, mask covers. Thank you for the answers. One more question. Is it okay if I use Red Heart Super Saver for my blankets? I've seen videos of people soaking them in water and conditioner. What is your input on that? I do not use Red Heart anymore because it's so hard and thick. And I am not the person that is going to wash it first. I did hear that method of washing it with conditioner, and it does soften it. I don't have the time capacity to do that and then let it dry. I just need to start my projects, because when I'm finished this one, I'm going right into the next one, because that one has to be done by Father's Day. And then I got one that I got to go right into after that, because that one is due July 4th. So I don't have the time to do that. I did hear that it does work, but I did a video on it. If you want to check it out, look it up. It's a video that I did on the best yarn to use for a Graphghan. I hands down used to use I love this yarn, but it's expensive. But I did for babies especially. And when I didn't use I love this yarn, I would use the Quran one. If I had to use Red Heart, I would use Red Heart. But a lot of times, if I mix Red Heart with maybe I Love This Yarn or Quran, you can see the difference, because Red Heart was so much more thicker. Do I have Red Heart? Red Heart is, yeah, I do. Red Heart is so much more thicker than Big Twist or I Love This Yarn. So it just was not something that I wanted to mix, because I found that the Red Heart will overpower the I Love This Yarn or Big Twist. So eventually I just stopped buying. I still have a couple of left, but I just stopped buying them unless I have to. But lately I haven't been buying them. I buy all Big Twists. And in the video that I did, I made little swatches and I test them. I soaked them. I put them in water. I let them air dry. And I showed whether or not they were like able to, move, or if it was thick. Like this, I use Red Heart. This is Red Heart. This is like really, really like thick and rough. But if you use Big Twist or I Love This Yarn, it's soft. It makes a difference, especially when you're making a blanket. You don't want to make a blanket that's hard and stiff. Your graphs always look good. Thank you, Kyle. And you are a Diva Squad member. That takes some of the fear out. I should be able to use either a single crochet or HDC and go back and forth instead of doing C2C. Yeah, I mean, it's up to you. If you want to try it out on maybe a sample. I'm in Graphghan University, and in Graphghan University, there's a album of just sample graphs. Check it out and try it out and see how it works out for you, because it's best to like try it out first. And I also have videos and stuff in there and on my YouTube channel showing you how you start, how you read the graph, and really simple. How many rows do you think I would need to make for each C2C row? I don't understand the question. I'm not exactly sure what you are referring to, because it depends on the image. It depends on the image on how many rows. So I don't know what you're referring to. C2C. I'm not a C2C girl. Oh my gosh. I don't like C2C at all. It actually makes it C2C makes it look babyish. Like the little blocks, you know how babies have to have big things, like a big crayon or the big pen or something like that. Like I think of C2C as, instead of the little single crochet or half double crochet square, I think of the big squares. And it turns out way, 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 way larger. And I think somebody made one of my graphs that was like 150 by 200, and they did it in C2C. It was so big. It was bigger than a California king. So I'm like, and she said she used like 30 skeins of yarn. Why? I never get that. I don't understand why. And then, I mean, what she was making was for kids anyway, but I don't know. I think some of them look cute, but some C2Cs are cute, but some I'm like, especially if you're making it for a man. I would not make a C2C blanket for an adult because I just feel like the more details you have, the more squares you're gonna have, and they're so huge. This is an example of like a strap that I would use for the gusset that I would use for the tote bag. It's an example. I would do. I think this is like 5. I would do definitely more than that. I would make it like maybe double. So I would probably make 10 just to make it a little bit thick, and I would just make it as long as I want. So someone asked me about the straps. This is what I would do. I would just make it like 10 single crochets, and I would just keep going back and forth. You could either ridge or ribbit. I don't know why. I think because I keep saying ribbit like a frog. I think I'm tired. If I decide to make this a back and forth instead of a back and forth, I love it. Instead, if I decide to make this a back and forth instead of C2C, how do I count the single crochet or HDC count of each square the C2C would make? Did that help? You know what? I think that's what everybody's problem is. When they do a C2C, they understand C2C better. And in my brain, C2C is a way more technical. But I think that's where the issue lies and why some people have problems with single crochet. All right, I'm going to show you. I think that's what it is. Like, thank you so much for that question. Because I'm beginning to think, because I never could understand why would somebody want to do C2C. But the way you asked that question is making me think that's the issue. Yeah. So what we're looking at is the graph, and each square. So for instance, if you did C2C, you would go like this in the corner, and then you would keep going and keep going until you reach this corner, and then you're going to start decreasing. So you're going to increase up when you hit the corners, then you're going to decrease. And that's how you do that if you're doing C2C. With single crochet or half double crochet, you're starting here at the bottom, and then you're working your way across like that. So each square is 1 HDC or 1 single crochet, right? Stop. You turn, you do your turning chain, and then you go to the next row. So this is row 2, and then you go like this, like that, right? Then you stop. I'm going to change colors so you can see where I'm at right now. Then you stop, and then you go here. So we're going to go here, and then you stop. Then you add the next color, and then you're going to do 2 of the red or whatever colors you're using. 2. And then you go back to the background color, and then you keep on going. And that's how you do it. And then you stop here, and then you go up to the next level, stop, and then you add the 4 red, and then you keep going. So basically you're going from right to left, left to right, right to left, left to right. And as you're going from each row back and forth, you're just adding the colors that you need. Now, when I do it, I make sure I have, so if you're going to use bobbins, right? I start to look to see how many bobbins I'm going to need. Or in my case, just how many strings I'm going to need to have ready. So I know I need the background color, but I need the background color for this side and background color for this side. So I would need 2 bobbins for the background color so far. Then I would need the color for my image. With this, I would need the red. The thing about it is, once I go up 2 rows in, I need to make it 2. So now I need to split it, because right here you have 2 on this side, then the background color in the middle, and then 2 on this side. So I would need 2 bobbins. So this row right here, this is the 5th row. The 5th row is definitely going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 bobbins. Why? Because each area that you have to change colors need its own string. You don't want to, I call it cross contamination. You don't want to put the white background and carry it into that red, and then the red carry it into the white. You don't want that to happen, because you're going to see the white in between that red and then the red in between that white. So this is why I personally do not carry my colors, and I do not blend them. Like, I make sure they even separate it. So there's going to be times, like for instance that 5th row, there's going to be times where you may carry, because you can. I won't do no more than 4 stitches. For instance, that 5th row where I said you're going to do the background color, then you're going to do 2 red, 2 of the background color, 2 red, and then the rest of the background color. You actually may be able to carry, because it's only 2. I won't, because I know I'm going to need those colors that's splitting. I'm going to need it at the top. So I might as well start already. I don't know if I made sense, but yeah, when you're doing bobbins, just make sure you have a bobbin for each color that you are going to need at the bottom, and then work your way to the next one. And like towards the middle, you're going to need a bobbin for that middle color, which is the background color in the middle. You're going to need a color for that. I mean, a bobbin for that. And then you're going to need one for the top. So just basically look at each color. You're going to need yellow bobbins. You're going to need a good amount of the background color. Sometimes I use, if it's an actual blanket, like the blanket I'm making now, I use the skein of yarn. So I have the actual skein on this side and the skein of yarn on this side. And that is what I use for the background. Then in the middle, I would have, if I did bobbins, when I first started, I just did the red for like 10 rows. Then I had the black. I started the black. So I had a skein of red here, skein of red here, and the black. Then the more I go up, that's when I'm going to need the black on this side. So then I had the skein of red here, the skein of red here, skein of red here, and then the 2 blacks on this side. So that means I would need 5. Actually, I'm sorry, more than 5, because I have the border. So I also have, I don't have the skein, but I would do like a ball. And I would have the ball that goes right here, and the ball of black that goes here. And then I would have the skein of red, because the background color, I need a lot of it. And just maybe a couple of balls of the black, or your bobbins of the black. I would do at least 10 bobbins of black, because you need a good amount. And here in the middle, I would do a couple of balls of the red. But once I get to the white, then we're going to start really breaking it down. So then you're going to need the black. Then you're going to need red. And then you're going to need a little ball of white. But then you're going to continue like you have been doing with the rest of the blanket. But each row that you're going up, you're introducing a new color. So that's how I do it. I do mine step by step. Some people get their bobbins already in order, and how you find out what bobbins you need is basically what I just did. I would look at my whole entire graph, and I would get, if I need the bobbin or a ball, because you could put more yarn in a ball or make a cake. You could put more yarn in a cake or a ball than you can with the bobbin. The bobbin is only used for like the small area, like this black. It's not a large area, so I would use a bobbin for this, or maybe the white. I would use bobbins for that, and for the rest, I would make balls or I would use the skein. If it's a really big detailed one, you might need a lot. And I know Gail, she would literally sit there and just keep, winding her bobbins, and she would put it in a little basket and just keep adding it to the basket. And as she goes, she could just go in her basket, pick out whatever color she needs as she go. I don't do that. I don't have time to wind up each bobbin. So I literally go like this and just pull. Like for this is the skein that I'm using for that. And I would just go like this and just keep pulling and pulling and pulling. And I just eye how much I need. Sometimes I have way less. Sometimes I have way more. If it's less, I would just get more and add it. It's not a problem. I just add the color. And that's it. That's it. That's basically how I add my colors. And I think that is something I've been doing for a long time now. Now, in the past, I did use bobbins. And then I realized I don't have time. So I stopped using bobbins and I just let them hang. And it works for me. But if you don't want them to hang and it may get on your nerves and the tingling bothers you, do the bobbins or the balls and put them in little tiny sandwich bags. When you put them in the sandwich bags, I would close the Ziploc bags, Ziploc the bag closed, and that way the only area that's open in the Ziploc bag is this little space for the string to hang. So as your work is hanging, the balls will be in the bag and it won't be all over the place. So you could use the baggy method. You could use the baggy method and the balls or the cakes, or you could use the clips. I think I have some clips. You could use clips. There's so many different things you could use. You can make your own bobbins. Not the hair clips, the clothes, clothespins or something like that. So many different ways you could do them, but definitely you may need bobbins. For something like this, I don't see a need for bobbins because it's so small. But if you do, you would need a bobbin for the black, a bobbin for the yellow, a bobbin for the green, yellow, and black. So you would definitely need 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5 bobbins because you got 5 colors. You just need them hanging. And you're good to go with this. This side looks the mirror image of this side. So when you are crocheting, you want to make sure that your front and your back looks good, because if it's a blanket, they're going to see the front and back. So make sure that it's neat, it looks good, and if you follow my techniques, you'll get it going and you'll be making bank. Because every time I'm finished one, somebody else calls and orders 3 more. Finish that one, somebody else called. Like, I'm almost finished this. Today I will be finished with this. And somebody called me yesterday asking for the 4 bags. So when you're blessed because you're hot, you're blessed. This is something, Graphghans are something that people are buying. It's a hot demand. It's a demand because you can make so many things that are keepsakes for anything. Baby, graduation, birthday, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Christmas, Valentine's Day, just because, memorials, all of the above. Someone wants something special, something that can be used as a keepsake. And it could be a blanket, it could be a wall hanging, it could be a pillow, it could be a tote bag, it could be anything you want. And you could make a good amount of money doing it. It's a lot of dedication, a lot of mind control, because a lot of people can't do blankets like how I do my blankets or how Gail do her blankets. We are always coming like this and dropping them like it's hot. And that's because we've been doing it for so long. And my mind is focused. If you watched yesterday's podcast, you will understand the hustle in me and understand my techniques and understand why I'm just a go-getter and how I changed my life to be that go-getter. So the days where I used to be so tired and I couldn't finish these blankets, I changed it. So my mind is set on getting up early in the morning, go for my walk, eat my breakfast, make sure my kids are good, cook dinner, and I start my projects. I do whatever I need to do on the computer. If I have to graph, if I have to do something with my website, I'm always doing something, and my days are filled. And it's like clockwork. I'm doing this today, I'm doing this tomorrow, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And that's why I'm so busy, because I don't just do Graphghans. I do this, and then I do patterns, and then I'm collaborating with other people, and then I'm doing graphs. So it's a lot. It's a lot, but it's doable and I love it. So if there's no more questions, so how do I make it regular size? That's why I was wondering if I needed to make it more stitches per square. I don't know the answer because I don't understand. That's why I was wondering. I don't even know where I was at. So how do I make it regular size? How, whatever the graph is, that's the size it's gonna come out. So if it's a 100 by 100 like this, it's gonna be like a crib size. So if you say you need a graph that is a crib size, I'm gonna make it a crib size. If you say you need a graph that's going to be twin size, I will make it twin size. Um, Depending on where you get your graph from, that's where you know what size it's going to be based off of who's making it, and they could tell you whether it's going to be twin size, or king size or queen size. So that's how you'll know what size it's going to be estimated with your tension, the yarn that you use, and the size you use. All of that plays a part in the size. But other than that, when I make mine, I use a general measurement that's going to make all of my Graphghans kind of sort of around the same size. And I found that my sizing is something that is more universal, because there's a group of us who did them throughout the years. We realized that if I make it at 150 by 200, that's a general twin size, because twin is long and like little short. So you can stick with me or you could go with somebody else. It's up to you. But that's it. I'm done. I'm hungry and I'm hot and I gotta finish this blanket. So you guys have a good one. I will be talking to the Diva squad tomorrow and we're going to do more Graphghan. So if you're not a part of the Diva squad and you want to learn how to make graphs, join. Press that join button right there at the bottom. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe, because it's so much content that you're going to miss. And subscribe and click the bell so that you know every single time I'm on, whether I'm doing a live or I'm not uploading. But for my members, the Diva squads, you have me and only me. So just click that little join button and you got me. You got more of me, and we're going to learn how to do graphs. We're going to learn how to make a graph with the PC Stitch. So that's what we're going to do tomorrow. Have a good night. Bye, Dana Dane. See you later. I'm about to eat my